Hello my beautiful friends, welcome back to my kitchen, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Anna and today I'm going to teach you how to make a beautiful, luxurious short rib pasta over pappardelle. This is delightful. It's one of my favorite things to order out. Before we start, I do want to say that I cut my recipe in half and I'm only making enough for 2 people, but the full recipe, which you can find on my website, anitas.recipes.com, here's 4 servings. So you can obviously double the recipe if you need to. You can cut it if you need to serve how many people you are going to be entertaining on serving that day. First off, we want to start with our short ribs. Usually I use a beef short rib. They didn't have any at the store for some reason, and I didn't want to drive to another grocery store, but I found this beautiful veal short rib, so I figured it would taste just as delicious. So that's what I'm using today. You're going to need your Italian sofrito, which consists of celery, carrots, and onion, which I've pretty much diced very, very finely because I want to really like blend into the sauce. You're gonna need bay leaf, a little bit of thyme, some garlic, red wine, tomato paste, some beef stock, a little bit of crushed tomatoes, but that's gonna come a little later on, and of course your pasta, and a few of the ingredients I'm going to show you in just a second. So the first thing I'm gonna do is turn on my heat to medium, actually medium high. You're also going to need a little bit of olive oil and some salt and pepper to taste, because we obviously have to season our beautiful short ribs. So I'm going to season it very well with just a good pinch of salt. Remember, salt is what gives your food flavor. So if you don't add enough salt, then you just not gonna have enough flavor. Just good amount of freshly cracked black pepper. You want to place your meat. Oh, and that's exactly what we want to hear, a nice, good sizzle. Okay, you also want to make sure that you pat dry your meat very well with a paper towel. That way you get a nice sear. I could have done a better job, but I did pat it dry a little bit. Now we season the other side with a little more salt and a little bit more pepper. My short ribs have a beautiful sear on all sides, and this is exactly what you want. So now I'm just going to remove it from my Dutch oven, and we add in our celery, onion, and carrots, and we give it a good stir. Once your onions are nice and translucent, then it's time to add in your garlic. Once you add it in, mix that as well, just for about 30 seconds. And now we're gonna add in some tomato paste. You want to mix that in. I'm gonna let the tomatoes cook for a good 2 minutes, and then we're going to deglaze the pan with the wine. I've added in the wine, and now it's time to deglaze the pan. You want to return your ribs back into your Dutch oven. Now we add in some beef broth, our bay leaf and our thyme, and the crushed tomatoes. We give everything a good mix, and like always I like to add in a few Parmigiano rinds just to give us a little more flavor. This looks beautiful. Now we have to pop this into the oven. I have my oven preheated at 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is going to cook for about 2 hours. You want the meat to be very nice and tender because you want to shred it, and just everything's gonna incorporate into the sauce beautifully. So you wanna make sure that you let it cook long enough so it's fork tender and beautiful. I'll show you exactly what it looks like once we get there. Okay, so my short ribs cooked for about 2 hours, and they are perfection. I did stir it every once in a while because you don't want anything to stick or to burn. Okay, I'm going to transfer the meat to a plate just so I can shred it properly. And it's so tender, literally it fell off the bone. It's so tender and wonderful. And now I also have a pot with some water coming to a boil so I can cook my pasta, and we can pretty much put this whole thing together because it's It's most divine in here, and I need to eat because I am starving. And this is going to be my lunch. I like to get rid of all of the fat, and then you just want to shred the meat. It's so tender and delicious. Look at that. Beautiful. Shreds very easily. This is all the meat I was able to get out of 3 little pieces of short rib. As you can see, that's quite a lot, and it's enough for 2, almost 3 people if you think about it. Here's how much sauce was left in my pot. As you can see, it's not a lot. That's why our pasta water is gonna come in handy, because it's gonna help us really thin out the sauce. But this sauce is so rich and beautiful. So what I like to do is I like to finish it off in a skillet. I'm going to take out all of the sauce and combine it with the meat. For the pasta, like I said, I like to use a hearty, delicious pappardelle pasta. The serving size recommends 2 ounces, so I'm gonna add in 3 for about 2 people. I'm sorry, I'm gonna add in 5 ounces for about 2 people, but obviously you can add as much as little as you like. My water's boiling, so I'm going to add my pasta in. I season my water with a little bit of salt. Here's what we're gonna do now. I have my skillet. I'm going to turn on the heat to medium. Like I said, you can absolutely do this in the same pot, but since it has a bit of like burnt little bits around the edges, I'm just gonna do it in a skillet. I find that it mixes better. That's just personal preference. So I'm going to add in the meat with the sauce. And now we're gonna get about half a cup of our pasta water. And we're gonna add it in here as well to thin out this beautiful sauce. There's a little sprig from the thyme. Okay, so I have about half a cup of the starchy pasta water. And now we're just going to mix the whole thing together, and then the starch in the pasta water is going to thicken the sauce, but just very lightly. It's going to loosen it up, but it's also gonna make it nice, kind of like starchy and somewhat like creamy, you could say. My pasta cooked for about 6 minutes. Obviously you want to cook your pasta according to your package's instructions, but I'm just gonna get it and transfer it right into the skillet. And now, very carefully, we're going to mix the whole thing together. Oh, so good. And now we're going to cook the pasta along with the sauce for about 1 or 2 minutes, just so everything kind of marries together and combines. Now that the sauce is pure perfection, we are going to transfer it into our plate. I have my fancy pasta plate here because I want to show you how beautiful you can make it. I'm gonna add a little more meat. I like to finish it off with a good grating of Parmigiano Reggiano and beautiful basil leaf. Now it's time to try a beautiful dish that we worked so hard for, and as you can see, it's not a very saucy pasta dish, and this is how I usually have it. Whenever I order at restaurants, it's not very overly saucy. It's mostly meat with a little bit of sauce, and it's just, oh, so good. Perfection. This is one of my favorite hearty, delicious pasta dishes, and if you try it, you will definitely know why. So I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Give it a try. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.